right? And I know we're bending the rules here ever so a lot.
It's okay. I now control the rules. It's all right.
Says you. I'll just edit him out.
No, I have the rule book. I rewrote it. Go on, yeah.
I don't know who you are, but welcome to the Irish Photography Podcast. Sit back, relax, and listen about cameras, gear, settings, stories, and all things photography. Join Darren on Ireland's Best Photography Podcast. Let's go.
And you're very welcome to episode 125 of the Irish Photography Podcast. This week, it's Darren. I'm on my own. Dermot's retired, but you know what? Had some fun in the last number of weeks, but this week, we said we'd bring back something that I love, but Dermot didn't really like. But you know what? The person that's on it with me this evening, I think he really likes it too. So, somebody who's been on the podcast a number of times before, now has his own podcast and doing very, very well. Had myself and Dermot on as a guest in it recently as well for episode 10. Without any further ado, BG, welcome back to the Irish Photography Podcast, buddy. How are you getting on?
Darren, how are you?
Do you like my intro? Did I build you up nicely there?
You built me up nicely, but I wasn't really listening, and I tell you why is because you're like episode 125, and here's me thinking I'm fantastic with episode 14 coming out. Actually, well, it will be out by the time this is out, but yeah, I'm just like, still have a long way to go, and realistically, unless you stop doing them, I can't catch up. You know, no matter how much I try, I can't catch up.
Of course you can catch up. I mean, there's been plenty of time for that. I mean, I'm down now to every 2 weeks, and even at that, you know, I might find every so often I think of another topic that I could do, but I'm going to stick to it to the 2 weeks anyway for foreseeable future. So that's going to be 26 a year. So you're going to do more than 26. You'll gain ground back. Don't you worry. You'll catch up.
No, listen, it's not a catch-up game. It's nice to just do them. It's easy. It's very easy to go out of them. Like, it's very, like, I remember when I was away and I didn't get a chance to do one and I did miss a week. No, I didn't make it known that I missed a week because there's just no point. Like, realistically,
absolutely.
No one really cares. And the best thing is you don't care and just, like, go with the flow the next week. You know?
Exactly.
And that's the way to do it and not take it too seriously. But it's a lovely little journey. It's cool doing it. And it's nice to be a guest on a podcast, but it's also nice to do your own podcast as well.
Yeah, no, to be fair to you, you're done very, very well, and you've had some great guests on as well, and I've listened to every single one of them, and I've enjoyed them thoroughly. So, I'm delighted to have you back on and have a chat anyway here this evening. But, like, it's been a long while, actually, since you were on. And, when you used to be on before, be on your journeys, and we'd call in for BG's bits and figure out where you were and stuff like that. So, like, autumn has come and gone, and there was no tours on because of the whole big COVID lockdown. But you actually decided to do something quite interesting, and I think so well done that I think it's going to be something that will last for a long time. In case somebody doesn't know what you've done recently, do you want to tell us a bit what you've just released, actually today?
Yeah, so obviously we record this today, which is Monday, 30th of November. And what I've been working on and not just me, two videographers, one video and one editing for the past number of weeks. So we'd spent a couple of days in Wicklow, which is probably going back a month ago now. It is realistically a month ago, and that's how long it's taken to be finished, I suppose. But I just decided one day to do this an autumn video, literally an autumn video, like an autumn project. But I didn't want it to be like a promotion for Bernard Geraghty Landscape Tours. I didn't want it to be come with Bernard Geraghty Landscape Tours. I would obviously love people to come and book trips, and thankfully people still are booking trips for next year. And that's great. But what I wanted it, and this is where I wanted to go with it, and this is why it took so long, because from recording, every bit of footage you see in that video that I released, right? I titled it Autumn in Ireland and a Time of Change, right? Autumn is a time of change, but also we are in a time of change. And I didn't want to think too much about the title of the video. I didn't want to think too much about the promotion of the video. I actually just wanted the video to be perfect. When you have a videographer working with you, it's hard enough. When you have two, it's so hard because you have three different ideas. Like, the video ended up being 3 minutes, 50 seconds or something like that. Joe, who did the video on the project, Joe Ladrigan, and he did it with the R5 as well. All this was filmed with the R5, which is just a stunning camera to video. And I'm no videographer or anything, but it's not about even the video. It's about his quality of work and the angles he gets while shooting. He shoots the video for the edit. And I think that's what sets him apart from a lot of others in terms of video. So he was, you know, he did the video, and then a very good pal of mine, Cal Debris, who literally lives up the road from me, he did the editing. And like Cal, he just nailed the editing. Like he really, he nailed every bit of it. And I think the two of them complemented each other with the shooting and the editing. But the point I wanted to get across, and I suppose I know I'm spouting on a little bit, but I want people to know where this came from. So from Joe saying, man, this is going to be a video, you need to keep people's attention, so it has to be 2.5 minutes. And I was like, Joe, I understand that, but also it's not a promo. It's not a vlog. It's not a promo. It's just a simple video. I said, I don't want people to feel, and this, Cal said it as well. He said, you want people to feel like they need more to keep them intrigued. And I said, that's not what I'm going for. I want people to be relaxed and satisfied at the end of it and not necessarily want more. I said, I don't want this as a promo. I don't want it to be, come to these locations, these are amazing. I wanted the video to tell the story. And I wanted people to not be on the edge of their seats while watching the video. I wanted people to sit back, if they have their hole shaped out in their couch, from years of use.
Couch, yeah.
Exactly. I want you to get in that hole and press the remote on your telly and put it on YouTube and watch. And it's just over 3.5 minutes. If you have surround sound, it works even better. That's what I wanted. I wanted people to almost feel emotional watching it. And I said this, I had a select of about 10 different people, such random people that I was sharing with the video with as I went along. And, they were all giving, obviously, their feedback. I went to so many people about the voiceover at the start. I overthought that voiceover so much you would not believe, yet it just could not have been simpler. And everyone's like, Bernard, take it down a bit. Take it down. You don't need to use fancy words. Why do you need to use fancy words? It's just a voiceover. It's like, yep. And those people, I showed them bits and I said, listen, this is what I want from it. And they were saying, I would maybe shorten it. I would maybe have it longer. And I went with some people's advice and I didn't go with others. And I went with what my gut said at the end and what the lads thought was best at the end. The song that was in it was not the song at all. Like Cal showed me that song without the video and I was getting tick. I'll be the first, he'll tell you, like, and I'll be the first to admit, I was getting tick. I was like, not a chance. I said, Cal, this is not happening. And then what does he do? Doing what Cal does. And he just edits the video with this music, sends it to me. Wow. Man, I swear to God, like, I thought I was going to cry. And happy tears. Happy tears. Like, the song I had in my head was just, I loved it, and it's still an amazing song, and I just sing it randomly myself. But Cal, and that's what I love about Cal. Like, Cal's a few years younger than me, and he's not afraid to take this risk and say, well, feck it, I've put this effort in, I'm going to throw this song in. If Bernard really doesn't like it, I'm back to the drawing board, But I loved it. It was just phenomenal. So the kind of, 8 or 10 people that I'd share bits of the video with and had asked, right, Bernard, what do you want me to feel before you show me this video? And I'd said, well, I want you to feel satisfied, emotional almost. I want you to crave, if you're abroad, I want you to crave Ireland. I don't want you to jump on a plane, pack your bags and your boots and run up a mountain. I want you to sit back and say, I need to get back home. I need to see Ireland. And if you're already in Ireland, I want people to say, well, do you know what? I didn't get out for autumn this year, but next year is another year. And in a few weeks, we'll be out of lockdown and I can get back out and enjoy nature and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what I wanted to get across. And the most satisfying thing about releasing the video, the most satisfying thing was actually the people who I'd showed snippets to and told them what I wanted from this video. They were like, Bernard, you are right. That was emotional.
Brilliant.
you know.
Brilliant. And that's exactly what you wanted to hear as well, because ultimately, you know what, I'll say something to you, right? When you create something, you're invested in it right from the start. And I really like what Cal did there, because it kind of broke the mold away from what you had wanted, but it also brought something separate, which is another person's viewpoint, which they knew you would like. And I think when it all comes together, as you say, with Joe's videoing, I mean, when I saw it and you showed it to me, I went, man, like he shot that directly for the edit to make the edit even better when you're looking for the scene that you need to be able to fill that space. And it was there, it was done. And the movements, the panning motion, everything. And you could tell, even with the quality of the camera that he had used, that, okay, I knew that it was the R5, but even at that, I was like, this is another level again, because it is crystal. Like the grading that Cal had done is fantastic, but the shooting in the first place, to get that, and with you walking through different scenes in beautiful light, I think it's a fantastic 3.5 minutes of entertainment, but an opportunity for you to get lost and to actually go into that space and use your imagination and visualize yourself there, and that's where you'll get the emotional connection. So I think bravo to all three of you. That's fantastic work, you know.
Yeah, and if I just say one thing, because, you know, again, I don't want to spend, you know, we're 10 minutes in now, and I don't want to keep...
This isn't the podcast about Bernard's video.
Exactly, it's not, but it's nice that you did ask. And, you know, it's a good platform to get across what you want from this. It's good to get it across, but this is for if someone hasn't seen the video and they go look at it, I want them to say, well, I heard what he said on the podcast, and that's exactly what I felt. But the best thing about it was, right, the beauty of this is, and I'll say this really quick, Joe Ladrigan is the hardest lad in the country to get to go out and do a shoot or a hike, right? And Cal was like, I'm going to send this cut over to you and Joe. And I was like, listen, Joe might see that in 10 minutes. He might see that in, 10 days. Exactly. Yeah. And do you know what? I was messaging Joe 3 or 4 times, and you mightn't get a reply. Now, 4 or 5 days he'll reply, listen, man, sorry, it's been really busy. And I said to Joe, straight out, I said, Joe, I literally just told Cal, I said, you don't often hear from Joe, and Joe can't always get out. But when he does and when he can, it's going to be special. And that is, the good thing is, if you have an expectation, like we talk about expectation and reality, right? My expectation of Joe is, if I try get him out for 10 days, right, and I get him out for 1 out of 10, that's the expectation. If I expect to get him out 10 days out of 10, I'm going to be let down. Not let down from him, but that's him. He's obviously his own life. But, most of us jump at the click of a finger. We'll jump to go out and shoot with our mates and go and shoot video or photos. But Joe has obviously other stuff going on. But just, that's all he needs. He just needs one day. That video was shot in like less than 6 hours total, which is crazy. And then the other side of it is, Cal, we went up to Wicklow in our camper vans, right? And we said, right, we'll get away from kind of life and go up to Wicklow in the camper vans, have a couple of beers, talk over the edits and how it's going to work, right? And I remember him talking to Milo at one stage, and I was actually on the phone to someone, and he was talking to Milo, and Milo said, how are you getting on with the video? And he goes, like, to edit this, not just to edit this, but to actually get to shoot with my idol, which was Joe. To hear him say that is amazing, So that's I think enough about the video. Listen, if you haven't seen it, it's on my Instagram, it's on my Facebook, it's all that kind of stuff. So do please go and watch it, and I'll obviously take any feedback, and I hope people feel what I hope they want, what I hope they'll feel.
I'm sure they will. And you know what? Yeah, look, we will even put a link into the... I don't think you actually... Did you share it into the podcast Facebook group, no?
No, but that's something I will probably do probably when I get off the call tonight or tomorrow at some stage, because I want to make sure and ask you if it's okay first, so I'm assuming
that's
is.
That's fine. No. We'll make an exception to the rule. Yeah, you can share it into the Facebook group, because it's phenomenal. And like I say, hats off to the three of you. I mean, it came together perfectly, and it is a great opportunity for somebody to get a bit of experience of autumn in Ireland when... the shitstorm of 2020 as it was, and nobody could actually get out there.
It's aimed at, it's aimed at everyone, but specifically feck me, I don't want to keep going on about it, but there's 2 weeks, I wanted to say so much in the voiceover, right? But autumn, you've sunrise and sunset every day, right? Every single day, could be good, bad, great, indifferent, whatever. If you have 10,000 people in Ireland that are into landscape photography. Them 10,000 people can shoot over a space of time your 365 sunrises and sunsets, right?
Yep.
With autumn, you only have a 10-day window. So you probably have half of those at least who are going to converge on about only 10 or 12 different locations around Ireland over the space of 10 days. And this is why I said it's a sense of community, because it's a time when you go somewhere in Ireland and you mostly expect to be on your own. But in autumn, you know there's going to be someone else there. And people don't like that, but I love that. I love going to Cloughlea with a group. Who cares? And seeing another group there or another group of 20 friends. It's just the community. It's the buzz. It's the crack. And it's meeting new people. And let's begin the Irish Photography Podcast.
Yeah, look, back to business. I suppose, look, as I said to you at the very beginning, we have a part here on the podcast which I really, really enjoy. And, it's very similar to what we did there. It's not talking about me or anything like that. It's talking about somebody else and somebody else's work. So your segment there at the very beginning is not really that far distance from the subject of the podcast anyway. But we have a regular segment which is called our Shunday Showcase, which is on our Facebook group, like I mentioned a moment ago. If you're not on the Facebook group, just jump over on, search in the Irish Photography Podcast. You'll be asked a question, to mention myself, mention Darren, mention Bernard, or mention a previous guest or anything like that on the podcast. Just keeps the spam bots out. But anyhow, once you're into the group, then we have every Sunday where people can post their favourite shot or what they photographed in the last week. And it's a great opportunity, just like you said a moment ago, as a community of people.
Literally,
to be able
I was
to
about
see.
to say that again. Yep.
Yeah, to see what everybody else is shooting from around Ireland. And people are putting out one photograph. This is their best shot. This is what I shot last week. And it started to grow and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And now every so often we do an episode where I pick 3 images from the most recent Shunday Showcase, and now Bernard can pick 3 images, and we'll see, will we actually pick the same image? It hasn't happened in the 125 episodes that we have done that. Now, we haven't done 125 Shunday Showcases, but, haven't had a match with myself and Dermot, so maybe I'll have a match with you this evening. So I think you know the concept anyway, Bernard, because you've listened to enough of the podcast. So without any further ado, I'm going to let you start. So let people know, I suppose, we're picking the images from the Shunday Showcase, which is on the 29th of November 2020. So, Bernard, what is your first image that you've chosen?
Right.
And
well,
why?
it's going to be, I suppose, it's going to be controversial because I'm always like, right, geez, I hope there's, 3 in it that I like. But actually, there's 4. There is 4. And I don't know if I can mention 4, but I'll mention the 3, right? The first one is Travis McCann Warner and the Palooza Falls, which is, it's a beautiful shot. Obviously, I'm assuming it's from the States. I think I've heard of it before. Kind of reminds me of one of the waterfalls in Iceland. I can't even remember the name of that now. But I think by looking at it, I think it's a panorama. It's gorgeous. It's just a beautiful shot of a waterfall. Looks like it could be a kind of a 5 or 6 image panorama. Waterfall on the left, lovely light coming in from the right, and you can see the river as it veers down the valley or the canyon. So that's my first shot. It's just a nicely exposed shot, and what we give for images like that in Ireland. The second one is you have to.
Yeah, you got to go first, and I got to see if I have to pick him one the same as you. And guess.
All right, okay.
What?
You did.
I have. I have actually picked. First time ever, boy. I picked exactly the same image by Travis McCann Warner, and when I first saw it exactly as you say it there, I was looking going, Jesus, what's that? Is that Iceland? No. It's Palouse Falls. Okay, Palouse is in Washington, I think, or close to Oregon, or somewhere around that, I think it is. I'm looking going, Jesus, look at this. And I started looking at it more, and I was really, really intrigued with it. So yeah, for everything that you said about the image, that's nuts. Straight away, we got 1 for 1. So we got a match. I think
we'll have more, though. I think we will have. Now, given if I can mention 4, I will, but I'll definitely obviously mention the first 3. So shall I go on?
Okay, well, here's what we'll do. So, right, since we both picked the first one, and you got 4, and I actually had 4 as well.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So let's see. So what is? Geez, that's nuts. No, we've a match after the first round. Okay, go on. What's your second pick?
So the second picture is from Neil Arthurs, and he says waterfall fun times. And what I love about it is you know me, I've said it before, and Mark Fletcher will actually know what I'm talking about as well. I always encourage people when shooting small enough little waterfalls, right, with almost foreground waterfalls with a waterfall in the background, try make that foreground one really big. And not saying Neil heard my advice any time, but he has the same concept. He's gone really close. Like, I'd say the waterfall he shot is probably 8 or 10 inches high, but it looks like it could be 2 feet high. You know,
it does.
And then there's a lovely little fall, which you don't know. It could be 6 inches high, but it could be 10 feet high, because you don't know how close or how far back it is from his frame or from in the background, you know. So I think that's just a nice image. It's a nice use of light as well, a bit of light coming in from the top. I love seeing waterfall images, be it whether natural light or adding a little glow from the top. So I do like that. I don't normally like, especially forest waterfall images where there's too much space at the top. I like to see a little bit, but just with a little bit of lightly coming in. So that's a nice image, and there's lovely greens, lovely light, lovely texture, and perfect exposure.
Do you know where that is? Yeah.
Haven't a clue.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and like it could be Devil's Glen, but it could be in his back garden. That's the beauty of it,
exactly.
You know. Yeah.
You know what? I didn't pick that, so we don't have a match for match. But I actually did spot that image when I looked at exactly the same thing as that. I went, "Where is that?" But actually, you know what? The fact that you don't know where it is actually so good about the image, because it could be anywhere. And that's exactly it. We don't know. Like, the falls at the back there is probably 10 times bigger than what we're looking at here in front. But when you're looking at composing the image, it's nuts. Yeah, we didn't match, but I would agree with you. It's a great shot, and well done, Neil, actually. And thanks for sharing the image in the Shunday Showcase. Okay, next.
Go for it.
Well, I actually was torn, to be honest with you, with this image, right? But there was something about it, and then the more I looked at the image struck me even more. And it was something that I've tried to do, but never really been successful at getting a good shot at doing it. Mainly not because I didn't have the gear, but because I didn't have the gear, right? To be able to get in as close as I wanted to be able to get to the subject, which is a wave. And I wanted to be able to capture water in movement in a wave. And there's an image there which is by Sue Sayer, and it's in Mullion Cove in Cornwall, and it's just a simple image, but it's an image of a wave breaking. And it's not even the case that she's down the tube wave or anything like that. It's just the exposure time is bang on, that you can actually see the grooves that are in the water, and you can actually see the water falling over the top of the actual wave as well itself. It's something that it struck me, and I looked at it again, then I looked at it again, and then I started to kind of look at the detail, and I said, you know what, that photograph, it's not your typical big wave shot, it's not your epic wave, but there's something about it, and it brings me in, it draws you in. And the moment, what I love about seascape photography is that no two images are ever the same. So no wave ever is the same either. And when you look at this, where she's positioned to take that photograph, she's sitting right at the top of the wave as such, where it's breaking over, and then bang. And I went, you know what, I really like this shot. It's something different. It's not a landscape, but it is something that I want to do more of. And well done, Sue, for sharing that image.
And listen, I didn't pick that image, right? Now, just because you don't pick it doesn't mean you don't like it. But I'm looking at it now, and it's funny because I think our eyes are trained to look at a wave coming from left to right. Mm-hmm. And this goes from right to left. And I think that's quite interesting. And obviously the light is coming from behind as well. So it is a beautiful image. And it's like these images, like, you've heard the episodes I've done with Jennifer Bunnett and Rachel Talibart. Some of this seascape stuff looks so easy, but it's actually so bloody difficult. Like, so difficult. And that's the thing. So it is, whether it's a fast shutter speed or a slow shutter speed or a long exposure, you're going for. Seascape is a lot harder than that we all, I think, realize, no matter how professional or amateur or rookie you are. And it's one thing I'm looking forward to. We're back down to where the southwest and southeast are sunrise and sunset now. So I'm looking now in the next couple of weeks, getting down in the camper van and just staying on the Copper Coast for 2 or 3 days and just shoot, and it's the best way to improve your seascape photography.
100%. And, you know, that's probably why it even struck me even so more so, because it's like, 8 weeks now since I had my last fix of the C, and I need to have it regularly. So yeah, that was my second pick anyway, and like I say, thanks Sue for sharing it in the group. Right, Bernard, what is your third pick?
Well, so this is from a guy, Stephen Phelan, and actually Stephen was very kind enough to share my video on his Instagram stories today. I only copped him sharing the story after I picked his image. Now, up until now, if he's listening, he doesn't know I picked his image. But and I'm not a big fan of the in-camera movement, but he's just done a nice, simple job of it. It's just a sky, just a colourful sky. Keith Arkins did one couple of weeks ago, actually, when I was out shooting with him, and it was a nice morning at Laytown, you know. And this is where I can learn from people, where that, like, he did it and I didn't, and then he got a lovely shot of that morning and I got lovely shots, but they're not ones I'm going to post, you know. And that's the difference. He decided, right, I'm going to try something different, you know, and he did, and it was really nice. And this is really nice as well. It's just a pink, it's got orange, it's got like magenta, it's got blue, you know, in the image, and it's just like a 4x5 crop, and it's just a nice ICM in-camera movement image from Friday Sunrise, he says.
I really liked it as well, and I like what about it is that you have a lot of layers there, and the layers are created not only by the colour but also within the sky itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, you know, that's a beautiful shot, and ICM is something I think everybody should do, even if you're messing around the place. You'd be amazed at what you can actually see when you look at the back of the camera after you moving the camera around. But there you have to have a certain set of skills, because if you don't do it, you'll end up with not straight lines, you know. So it's just straight across on this, but it's actually really, really good. I like that shot. I didn't pick it, but I like it a lot. Yeah.
Do you know what's funny, actually? And one of the lads, Keane, messaged me today about his tracker, right? And about doing panoramas on his tracker. Would he need 2 ball heads? And I was like, listen, this is the ball head I'm using at the moment, and what it has. It has 3. We did obviously the podcast on Ben Rowe stuff, right? But what they have now, so you have your 2 main, what would you call them? Twisty
levers.
Things. Yeah,
twisty
levers
knobs.
or twisty knobs, whatever you want to say, right? You have your small one to turn the ball head left and right, and your big one to turn the ball head around in the ball head, you know. But then you also have the plate on the top. So you have a little lever for the plate on the top. So if you have it, you can turn the actual, so leave the ball head or the bottom plate doesn't have to be touched. It's just the Arca Swiss plate turns. And when you have that level, that would actually be a great idea. That's something I'm going to try next, is actually try that in-camera movement, just using that, a nice little pan. That way it stays level and everything. So that's something I'm definitely going to try next time I'm out, especially with seascapes.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting one to do, and you know, I'm going to try loads of things, and I can get back out to the seascapes. That's one thing for sure. So I probably add that into the list of it as well. You know, yeah, I miss it so much. Okay, so back to me, and again, do you know when you look at an image and you don't know where it is? It tells you where it is, but you still don't know where it is because you've never been there. But you go, I kind of want to be there. And the reason why you want to be there is because something within the image draws you into the image. And most of the time, it's either composition or it's light. You know, light for me is something that I've learned a lot more about over the years, and I'm kind of really, really, you know, thankful when you get nice light, because that's what makes your eye draw it within the frame of the shot. So this is an image by Catherine Doyle, and it's a place called, I think it's Juice. What is it?
Jousewood, in Wicklow, yeah.
Yeah, right. Now, I've never shot there, but the image, there's some beautiful light, but it's happening just beyond the trees that are within there. And you kind of want to go, oh man, look at that light.
Yeah.
Go. And like, you know, she's there, she's got the shot, and it does tell a story. And I really want to see what's beyond those trees, because I want to go to the light, and I really, really like the shot. It grabbed me, and I went, I like that shot.
Do you know what? I knew you were going to pick that shot. I just knew. And that's one of the reasons I didn't, because I was like, I'm going to try keep up the trend of this and say, right, this is not going to happen. We're not going to get matching images. So that was like, Catherine is actually such a nice woman. Like, she's such a nice woman. But you know what I love? Like, it's a beautiful shot. The light in the background is just stunning. It's darker in the foreground, which is perfect. But you know what I love best? No, none of these luminar rays.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's just like
it doesn't need it.
Nah. Unless they're there, you know what I mean?
But that light is low light as well by the looks of it. And you're
because it's warm.
Go in there. Yeah, I want to get in there. I want to go out there. What else is out there? You want to see that. You put in the fake Sunstar on the top of that, you might as well add a bit of mist and fog as well altogether, Sherlock. And then it's just a creation. This is a lovely image of a spot, like I said, that I want to go to at some point. I want to see what it's like. So, yeah, that was my third.
And you know what? What's nice about it? She has just I'm not a fan of borders, but she has a nice, just thin, very thin white border around it, and you can imagine it in a frame. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, no, it's really, really nice. So again, thanks, Catherine, for sharing your image. It's really, really nice. So yeah, we've both picked 3 images. We've had 1 match, but you have an extra bonus.
I have 5.
You won't get 5. You'll get an extra bonus. We'll get 1. We'll give you allow 1. So go on, pick your favourite child there now. The last 2.
Do I have to? Because one of them is really positive towards me all the time, and it's a nice image. And then there's an unusual image which happened last week for the first time in a few years in Ireland. So
I'm going to answer it for you. It's about the image, not the person. So what's the image?
Right. Well, I'm going to share one really quick. West Clare, right? Lovely waterfall off the cliffs of Moher, the Doolin Cliffs. Now, going to move on to number 4, okay?
Patrick, come on. You should give Patrick the credit for that photograph. Patrick did a great job on that shot.
No, definitely. Like, Patrick Galvin's, he's so positive towards me. He's always encouraging with words and stuff. So I had to mention him, and he's out in all weathers. But just really quick, I want to, right? And I know we're bending the rules here ever so a lot.
It's okay. I now control the rules. It's all right.
Says you. I'll just edit him out.
No, I have the rule book. I rewrote it. Go on, yeah.
So we welcomed last week back to our skies for the first proper time in 2 or 3 years, at least, and that is the Northern Lights and Rab Rogan with Dunluce Castle and the Northern Lights on the horizon with beautiful pillars. It's to see them. I remember when I started in 2015, we were pretty much at a solar maximum almost. I didn't know much about it then, but I remember all the time literally getting notifications, Aurora. You look on the Shetland cam, there's Aurora. You're looking at the North Coast, there's Aurora. I had a lovely field facing north in Newbridge, in Kildare, and I was going out almost what felt like nightly, shooting the Northern Lights, and they have just been non-existent in the lower latitudes in the past few years due to solar minimum, which we're now coming out of. So to be able to see the Aurora back in our skies in Ireland, even if it is just the far north, it's just amazing, and fair play to the people for getting out and shooting. So fair play to Rab.
It's a beautiful photograph, and when I saw it, actually, I kind of went, what? Really? Hang on, that must be from a few years back. And then I was looking, no, actually, you know what, it's only been recent. And, okay, fair enough, right? Since, you're going for the extra one on that, just to give you a small bit of an extra one for Rab again. It was Rab actually posted a number of shots, so he kind of broke the rules by posting one, more than one. So we'll break the rules for you there, Rab.
He might give us a Rab jacket.
Maybe, but guess what? The third photograph that he took there, with the red sky and the wave breaking on the rock, with the people stood on the rock straight away.
Yeah, I seen that, yeah. Ballantoy, isn't it?
Look at that. Yeah, I was like, look at that. So yeah, Rab, you get an honourable mention there twice for breaking the rules by posting 3 photographs in the Shunday Showcase, and you got 2 of them mentioned.
We'll have to send him a receipt for those mentions.
Yeah, hang on now. Note to everybody else, it doesn't mean that if you post multiple photographs that you'll get multiple mentions on the Shunday Showcase. One a week. All right, so no, you got your extra one in there, and we didn't match on that. But you know what? I'm going to pull out one from the bag for the extra one that's there, and it might be one that you wouldn't expect. There's a funny story behind it. So I posted on the group there on Friday to let people know that we would be recording and that we'd have a special guest, and that make sure that you post your bangers in the Shunday Showcase. And all of a sudden I started to get a couple of people that were posting their images on that post, and I was like, okay, I said posted in the Shunday Showcase.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So I says, okay, I'll reply. I went, oh, that's very nice. Make sure you save it for the Shunday Showcase. And then somebody else did it. So I went, okay, copy, pasted that one in.
Yeah.
And somebody else did it. And I went, oh, man, what's going on here? And next thing, all of a sudden, I get a notification. Dermot O'Donovan has commented on your post. And I was like, what's Dermot after commenting on my post? Thought he's after leaving.
I bought a new jet ski.
Next thing, what does Dermot do? But Dermot goes off and posts one of his own images as well inside in the thing. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, Dermot, surely be to God, you know the thing at this stage in your life. You've done this often enough. You know that it's a Sunday showcase, right?
Yeah,
so
but I'd imagine,
okay.
just one sec, I would imagine with Dodd, like Dodd is just like, his brain, I'd say, is like a minefield. So he probably thought it was Sunday.
Probably.
Yeah, I
not
think
once,
so.
Not once though, but he did it twice. And then I replied to him and I went, Dermot, yeah, thanks very much. We keep for the Shunday Showcase. And then on Sunday, when the Sunday Showcase was about to go live, I get another notification on exactly the same post. Like, Dermot has also now shared his images as well on that same post that I'd already replied to him on the Friday. So I went straight in and went, okay, commenting has been turned off. So I said, you know what? He has to get an honourable mention here, Dermot. You did actually post a beautiful shot. It was a shot you took in Castleconnell of the fog with a red boat. Simple image, really, really catchy. And, you know, I really, really liked it. I was a bit pissed off that you actually got a photograph and been out in those conditions because I couldn't get out into the conditions because there was no fog in Cork, unfortunately. But he got the fog on that morning. So, yeah, an honourable mention there for our host, our ex-host of the Irish Photography Podcast, Dermot O'Donovan. I'll send you on a copy of the new rule book, but it hasn't changed, right? You still only post images on a Sunday in the Shunday Showcase.
It is funny. We're all guilty of that kind of thing. Like, I've often posted videos, like, just could be a 10, 15 second video of a sunrise or a sunset or something. And then someone will, like, comment being like, beautiful photo. And I'm like, what? It's video. Would you like a print? No, obviously it is great to get comments, but you see, we do all drop the ball at some time, you know, and we make like silly, like we don't read enough, we don't look enough, you know, we just assume all the time, you know, and we're all guilty of it. So I think we'll have to let him away with that one, and Rab and everyone else, just post as many images next week. Go on, make his life hardship.
It's okay. I won't be talking about him again for another 4 weeks anyway, so that'll be all right. You can post as many as you want. Yeah, post 5 or 6. That'll be great. So look, Bernard, that's the first part of it done, man. Thanks very much for your input. You picked some fantastic shots. I can't believe that we actually had a match. So, you know, that's amazing after so many episodes. And on that bombshell, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Nick Page from the Landscape Photography Podcast, and you are listening to the Irish Photography Podcast.
Bernard, we're on to part 2 now, my man, and it's something that we do, and we look at our Instagram, and our Instagram is really, really active. We got some fantastic people that follow the Instagram page, and they tag us on a regular basis. And every Friday, actually, you know, we do a thing called the Irish Photography Podcast Friday Feature. So we share images on our stories, some fantastic talent that's out there, and it always is interesting when I look at these. I always come across new photographers, and I come across people that have started tagging us or people that have been tagging us for a long period of time, and you can see an evolution of their photography. So we decided a number of months back, as part of the Shunday Showcase, we'd also look and we'd do an Instagram spotlight. So we'd pick one of the followers on the Instagram page and we'd talk about their work. Now, given that you're the guest on the show this evening, I said I'd pass that honour over to you. So, you know, earlier on I said to you, who do you think we should pick? And you said, oh, yeah, I might have somebody in mind. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, that could be the person too. All right, yeah, let's go for that. So, Bernard, your first pick of the Insta Spotlight, who is the profile that you've picked?
So, Darren, I've gone with a good compadre of mine, and I've gone with Felix Sproll. And the reason I've gone with Felix Sproll is because the man has serious dedication. Like I definitely think he has he has more dedication than I have. You know, it's different when you're doing tours and stuff, and that's your job because you're out all the time. But it's harder to do it when, you know, it's just a hobby and you really have to get up at those all hours and go spending so many nights under the stars and all that kind of stuff and do all these hikes. But just one of the reasons I picked him, I picked many reasons I picked him. One is just for the type of guy he is. Absolute, like, gentleman, great crack, although you never know when he's serious. You know, like, trying to post an emotional video to someone like him and asking for his feedback, and he just texts back saying, yeah, that's shite. You know, like, at the time you're annoyed, but then you're like, this is Felix. Like, he's not going to give you that emotional reaction, you know? So, like, that's one of the things to love about Felix.
It's absolute shite. Yeah, okay, go on, yeah.
You know, but he says it in his big, thick Mayo accent, you know. And his work is stunning. His dedication is amazing. He's grabbed some really beautiful shots over the year, through this year. Especially his Astro. His Astro has really taken lift off this year. We went up, done the Carron Tool hike with the Milky Way over Carron Tool together. He hasn't edited his shot yet, but what he has done, you know, he has that iconic cottage in Connemara, the fishing hut. You know, he's lucky enough to live in Moycullen, which is half an hour from Connemara. And, you know, he spent a few nights heading out to Connemara, looking for clear skies, looking for calm conditions, you know, lucky some nights, not so lucky other nights. And one particular night he went out to the fishing hut in Connemara and just got stunning skies. So it's the Milky Way behind the fishing hut.
Beautiful.
And it's just stunning. And the interesting thing is, so you see the light, right? So that light wasn't lit up with a light inside the hut. So there's a window at the back, and he just put a little light at the window at the back, which illuminated the inside of the hut. And that's how he got the light, you know? So, like, I think that's the real iconic shot of Felix at the moment. He was the first one to shoot that. No doubt about it, like, and I'm sure it's a shot that was in everyone's mind for a long time, but it does make it a bit easier when you live close. Not content with that, he decides to go to the lovely Atlantic town of Roundstone in Galway. And what does he do then? He goes to the harbour and gets the Milky Way over the harbour in Roundstone. You know,
and
like
on the same night.
I don't think it was on the same night.
Oh,
but no, I don't think so. But then that's more to his dedication, because you only get a certain amount of time to shoot the Milky Way in Ireland before the galactic core sets. But to get that was just like phenomenal, and I can guarantee there was no one else in the country that would have thought of that shot. You know, such as his dedication. I just know for a fact no one would have. The fishing hut shot, yeah, maybe because it was an iconic location, but Roundstone with it, just incredible, you know. So that's again just one of those shots, you know. I've been lucky enough to be. I was in where was I with Felix? I was in the Dolomites. Jesus, was I actually that many places with him? Yeah, we were in the Dolomites together. I could have sworn there was somewhere else. Jesus, he's going to kill me now if I was somewhere else with him. We've shot so much in Ireland. It all started when he was like over arranging meetings, speakers for the Letterkenny Camera Club. And he got me up one time and he's like, listen, if you're up, I didn't know of him at the time. He's like, if you're up, do you want to do a bit of camping? You know, and I was like, grand, I'll go up a couple of days earlier, and we went camping, and we done a lot of shooting, and it was, you know, we've had some great adventures, especially around Ireland, down in Dingle. You know, we had a great time in Wicklow not so long ago. And yeah, his dedication is just amazing. We also did one in the Mamturks. So we did a beautiful hike in the Mamturks. I won't even begin to name the mountain because it's gibberish to me, but I don't know if you can see it, but that's it. It's just,
Connemara, yeah.
Oh my God, it's just, so it's not, you can see the 12 bends in the distance. The thing about that is, right, to get to that, right, we 3 attempts to get to it. And the first attempt, we drove up this valley and down this road, and we pulled in, and next thing this car comes down. It's like, this is a private valley, you're not allowed in here. And we're like, oh, like one of the trails told us we could like hike this way, and they're like, no, not the case anymore, closed to the public altogether. It would have only took us an hour to get here if we could have done that. So we're like, right, back to the drawing board, back in a valley, and park up, and we start walking up this like pure, like almost vertical face, and we're like, listen, we'll just go straight up. It'll take us 2 hours to get up, we'll just go straight up and be at the spot. And because we want to be there for sunset. So we were heading up. Next thing, like this farmer casually walking through all the marshland and the mountain and the rock alongside us, and he was getting ever so closer, but wasn't in a panic. And then he eventually gets close enough. He's like, "Hey, get the fuck back down there now, Jesus!" And starts effing and blinding. We're like, Jesus, we didn't know. Sorry, because we didn't have to climb any fences or anything. And then he was like, "Tourism Ireland and all Galway, they were getting all the money and we were getting nothing, so feck off. And we're like, Jesus, calm the jets there. We're like, listen, we're not arguing. We'll come back down. We did.
Fair enough, yeah.
So we had to go and find another spot. So we went, parked up, and we found a trail. And after all that, the trail, 3 hours one way. And it was like going from 150 meters to 600, back down to 400, up to 700, back down to 400, up to 750, back down to like 600, up to 800. It was so up and down. And then you have the fact that you have all the gear on your back. You have, you know, probably 20, 22 kg with tents and, you know, tripods and food and cameras and, you know, all sorts of equipment. So it was worth it in the end for the conditions that we got, not just at sunset, but also at sunrise, you know.
You know, think about what you say there, right? Is that it's dedication, and it's about putting yourself through it to get to the shot. And when we looked and say, okay, we're picking Felix, I said, Jesus, yeah, absolutely. Because you look at not only Astro, but every single aspect of his photography. I mean, he's got shots there that I'd die for because the conditions that he was in, that he had to put himself in that position to be able to get those shots. Yeah. But even thinking of Astro, something I haven't seen it before, and I never will see it since, but it's a photograph that he took with Neowise, and he took it over the O'Brien's Tower in Cliffs of Moher. Now, I go, Jesus, like, you've seen this thing everywhere. People take a photograph of it here, there, and nothing nondescript. But this is right next to an icon, and it's something that you're never going to see again. Now,
witness
when
again,
you think back, and you think back in regards, you say he's up in Mayo, so he drove from Mayo down there in the hope of getting an opportunity with clear skies. And guess what? He got it, and he got a shot. And even looking at his breadth of photography is not just from the Astro point of view. The conditions that he can get, I think, are incredible by putting himself out there and saying, you know what, I'm going to get a shot here. I see there's a shot here. He may not get it once. He tries it again. And even looking at his feed, there's some beautiful photographs there. There's one photograph here which struck me, and it is for the season that's in it, Japanese mountain forest in the mist. So they were near Mount Fuji when he took this photograph, and it's just beautiful. It's such a simple, delicate photograph, but you've got mist and fog that's there, and it's just so pastel in regards to the ground that's there. There's a bit of the yellowy green flower grass and stuff like that, and you go, like I said earlier on with the photograph that I picked in the Shunday Showcase, I want to go through here. I want to see what's in there. And that's like just one of the fantastic shots I think that Felix has to offer. And even something that, you know, I love to take photographs of, and you do as well, is just waterfalls. And even his waterfall photography is beautiful. The timing that he's got on the flow of the water, you know, you can still have, it's not too milky, like there's still texture within the water. You know, you see that it's flowing, it almost looks as if it's flowing in the images as well. And then on top of that, then, again, stuff I did for many years, and, you know, I kind of stopped it because I couldn't get out in the times I wanted to, but just moon and full moon photography. And he's got a number of shots in as well here that, again, you know, you have to be lined up, bang on, to get the shot. And there's one there which is of the, what's that big building? Let's see if he says in the name.
The Shard.
The Shard. Yeah. And you've got the moon sitting right behind the Shard. And you're going, man, do you know what? That's a beautiful shot. But I know how hard it is to get that shot because I've tried to get a shot in particular. It took me 4 months. So he's not just got one of those. He's got a number of them. So, yeah, I think, you know, his photography full stop is fantastic. But if I give you one final example, and you mentioned about the Dolomites, it's an image that he has from Cicada, and it's looking out through a tent and looking at Cicada, the actual peaks. And I'm looking at that shot going, yeah, beautiful. Sums it up. You know, you're saying about bringing the tent, bringing it all with you, but putting yourself in that position to get those shots. And I imagine that's, sunset? Sunrise? Probably sunrise.
Sunrise, yeah. So obviously we camped up there and we woke up the next morning. The thing is, the sunrise that morning was just crazy. But now you're talking about putting yourself in the position, right? Now, I do want to talk about that, and I want to talk about a couple of others, right? We will, now that we're on the Cicada image, I want to keep talking about it, right? Now, there's you're talking about, we talk about dedication, and you're talking about putting yourself out there, right? So it was myself, Felix, and Johnny that were here, and we went to the Dolomites, 2017, and we said, right, we'll bring the tents, we'll get a hotel as well, and we'll do a bit of boat, we'll do a bit of camping, and we'll do a bit of hotel and stuff like that. And we said, right, looks like the weather could be perfect. Clear for sunset, which is not what you want. Secheda is the best place in the world if you have the right conditions. If it's clear, you're just like, it's bang average, in my opinion. And we said, right, sunset looks clear. Sunrise looks like it's going to be the one. And we said, right, we'll get the lift up and we'll camp up there, get to Ortsay, and turns out the lift is not running, right? So it was being repaired. So we were so naive at the time, being like, oh yeah, sure, we'll pay someone to bring us up in the lift, give them an extra few bob, and that's not happening. Sure, there's a road, so we'll drive up. This road is like that, right? So like Felix, right, sure, we'll drive the car up. The car got about 50 feet and it just couldn't go anymore. That's how steep it was, right? So we're like, right, so we'll just walk up, we'll hike up, we'll be up in a couple of hours. I'd say we were hiking for 3 hours up this road, right? Not a trail, not a unnamed path. It was a road, but it was strictly private. You get fined. If you get caught going up, you will get caught, right? There's no doubt about it. So if the lift isn't running, you have to walk. So we were walking for 3 hours. I'd say we were a third of the way there after 3 hours.
Wow.
Right? That is how steep it was. The legs, it was catastrophic. I never want to experience it ever again. If someone was to say, I will throw you off Secheda when you get here to put you out of your misery, you would say yes, right? It was that bad. And next thing, a car goes by and you're like, trying to stop them, and they just drive on. Next thing, another car goes by, and it's completely, so mostly it's all Fiat Panda 4x4s, like the old ones from the 80s and 90s. They are beasts of yokes. They will get up anything. And it's mostly them. And next thing, we were about a third of the way there, maybe almost halfway. And this like Nissan Navara's going up, and we're like waving down, come on, And this lad puts down the window and he's, Italian obviously, but he's a good bit of English. And we're like, please, will you bring us to the top? And he's like, oh, what are you doing? We're like, we're just going up to camp and take photos and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, we were like, yeah, we'll pay you. And he was just like, oh, put the stuff in the back and you get in. And we were like, right, how much do you want? He was like, I don't want money. He was like nice but grumpy. Like really nice but grumpy, You could tell he was like, these lads are putting in a shift, so I'm going to bring them up. So we were high-fiving each other in this Jeep. You must have thought, what the hell's going on with these lads? But we appreciated it so much. Like, that's how bad this hike was, right? It was horrendous. And we appreciated it so much. We were kind of close to tears. Like, that's not even a joke. And it turns out he was the manager for the whole Ortsay and Secheda resort. His name was Charlie, and so that was amazing. So we had a few people tell us, you cannot camp, it's totally highly illegal. But you're like young and naive, you're like, sure, we'll try it anyway. So this kind of got rid of any doubt, because this guy manages the whole resort. He could see us putting tents and bags in. He knew what we were doing, and he dropped us to within 5 minutes walk, 10 minutes walk of the viewpoint, So sunset was, we wouldn't have been up there before morning. That's how bad it was. Sunrise was great. The only thing is we had to walk back down, right? We didn't care because we were going down. We would have got the shots, all that kind of stuff. When we were walking down, right, again, it's so steep. We would walk for 30 seconds forward, 30 seconds backwards to take the pressure off our calves and off our shins. And eventually we got about halfway down, and there was this guy who lived there, and he gave us a lift all the way back down again.
Well,
so
it's interesting. It's interesting, right? Because I actually can relate, because I got into those sheep pens, if you remember, when we were going up and down to Secheda. Whatever, everybody squeezing into it, and like that was a fair old journey because we had to take two of them to get right to the top. Yeah. So I even remember looking out as we were coming back down, going, Jesus! And you had said to me, yeah, that's where we went up, and I went, what? Yeah, it's like that. So, in fairness, I mean, to do it, to get the shot as well, and to get that beautiful shot as well, worth it.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, and you seen from where we started in the cable car to where we ended, right? As the crow flies, it's not far.
For sure.
But, and that's the thing, it's not far. But when you, like, that shows how steep it is. You know?
Exactly.
If you were to lay it down on flat ground as the crow flies, it would take you 20 minutes to walk, like, you know, but such as how you know, tough it was. Another that stands out to me, I won't go through the full details of this story, but I remember taking Felix and Max Malloy and another good pal of mine from Newcastle, Darren Walker, up Carron Tool for sunrise before, you know, and we stayed down, camped down at Cronin's Yard the night before, and we said, right, we'll, you know, make it maybe 4 a.m. start or whatever, get up the top for sunrise. But I was so sick, like, so I slept in my bus.
I remember that. It was the time you never went up, yeah.
I was so sick. Like, I'm never sick, but it turns out I had gastroenteritis. Now, anyone that knows what that is knows how bad it is, right? And knows what can happen. So I won't go into the full details. But let's just say I had to get up at like 3 a.m. and run for the showers in Cronin's Yard, which were luckily open. And it was mental. Like, it was crazy. I just couldn't do the hike. I was just too bad. And that day, drove home, dropped Darryl back to the airport in Dublin, and did not leave my bed for a week. It was crazy.
Nasty.
But the lads got stunning conditions up there. You know.
Felix was up there. Felix was up there with Max, and Max got a photograph that you see all the time now, but pretty much from the same shoot, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
they
that.
did.
Must have a look for that again. Yeah. Beautiful shot.
And I'm looking through the feed here, right? It's funny when I say, just where was I with Felix? Skye, Dorset, obviously the Dolomites, and so many adventures in Ireland, you know. But yeah, listen, his gallery is stunning, you know. Yeah, obviously, and his dedication, you know, that's half the battle, is the dedication. And if it's one thing Felix has, is dedication.
So yeah, if you want to follow Felix on Instagram, it's felix.sproll. And I'm sure he'd be delighted to have more followers. It is awesome feed. It's fantastic work. And I think, you know, you'd be pleasantly surprised if you haven't come across his work before. When you look at his feed, it's exceptional. So yeah, great choice, Bernard. Boy, fair play to you. You gave us some good topics there to discuss and some great stories as well. I'm delighted that you were on to tell us a story about some of the shots as well. So you kind of brought some of these images as well to life. Maybe I'll have to get Felix on someday to tell his side of the story and how he carried you up the mountain.
No, we might just keep it to one side of the story here now. No, listen, we have had, and the good thing is, right, if you have this friendship with someone, right, you know, I've shot with Felix, which of places that have been his idea, and you know, it's like an unwritten rule, right? Felix asked me to go and get an unusual shot with him, so it's not his shot, but it's an automatic, he posts first.
Yes,
you know,
for sure.
And you don't post for a while after, because like there's no, like, you know, you don't post like the next day, because you know, the shots will just end up you know, they'll cancel each other out almost.
Yeah,
so
they'll blur each other out.
Yeah, so he's had that with a few of his images, and I've had that, you know, what I was the one that asked him to come up Carron Tool that night. He actually went up the night before or the week before, but it wasn't full darkness then. Now, they still got lovely conditions, but I said, listen, I'll be heading next weekend. It will be fully dark, all that kind of stuff, and we'll do it. They were over on like Knocknapeshta and Big Gun and stuff like that, and we were going up O'Shea's Gully, across the Beancarra Ridge, the Beancarra Mountain, looking across at Carron Tool, Beancarra Ridge and Carra Mountain. So it was a completely different viewpoint. And, you know, I asked him to go, and again, the unwritten rule came in, you know, it's like, well, Bernard, you post away and I'll post in whatever, you know. And actually, what was the amazing thing about that night was the crack going up as well, because Max Snap came as well, and another guy, Keenan, he came, and it was brilliant crack. But the air glow we got that night in the night sky was something like...
Nuts.
You'll never see it repeated again, probably. Like, it was crazy.
Beautiful.
But yeah, listen, Felix, amazing person to shoot with. You know, if you're looking to get his opinion on something emotional, or you're looking to get life advice, don't go to Felix. If you're looking for a bit of crack, he's the man to go to.
Perfect. So Bernard, listen, thanks very much for that. Thanks very much for coming on the episode this evening, episode 125. and featuring the Shunday Showcase. Some great images there, good choices, and great choice as well with Felix. So yeah, we're going to wrap her up, I think. Anything else to add there? Anything? What are you doing next? Where are you going?
So we're going to come out of lockdown. Like, I'm kind of lucky that I have been able to do a little bit of traveling with the likes of Wicklow. You know, like for work purposes, because you're going. That's my job. Whether people think it's not, it is my job. I have another little project that I'm probably going to start committing to next year. At the moment, I'm kind of working on bits and pieces of it now. I don't want to say too much, but that's just something that for maybe the kind of second quarter of next year. I think once we open back up, I'll go hell for leather for a couple of weeks. But I'm also actually helping out my dad as well. My dad is one of the lucky ones that's been literally probably making his pension money through the pandemic. You know, I'm one end of the scale with nothing, and he's doing the opposite. So it's nice to be able to help out that way as well. I think come January, if things are still kind of orange between Norway and Ireland, I will probably head to Norway for a few weeks to Tromsø and Senja, up to my good pal Adrian Maudui, and get tested before I go. If there's a quarantine period, which I think at the moment is 5 days if you're tested, and take a test after 5 days up there, that won't be so bad. If it's 2 weeks, I won't. But that's the plan. We'll see what happens.
Sounds good.
You can't plan anything, you know?
No, you can't. You can't. All I can tell you is that we're out of lockdown in 2 days, and next weekend I'm going to go as far as I can go away from my house, within obviously the county of Cork. So I'm happy that I'm living in Cork because it being the biggest county. But yeah, I'll probably head off down West Cork there and go around there, and I'll play around.
It's so funny, like, you know, like you have to stay within your county, but you'd be better off going to Dublin because you're closer than West Cork. Like, you know.
I know.
It is
and then the
mad.
time it would take me to get down there with the roads is insane. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, guess what?
It is
going to be
nuts,
out.
but
Going to
listen.
be able to get the camera out. Be able to get my new shiny out as well. So yeah, I'll be able to give it a good run for its money because it only barely had an opportunity. So yeah, Bernard, thanks a million, man, for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. And I have to get you on again now soon enough as well, sure, and catch up once you're going on your journeys. And best of luck now with your next episode as well on Wednesday. So yeah, thanks a million, everybody. Thanks for listening in. And until next time, Stronger Fall.
See you later.
Hey guys, if you dig what you're hearing, why don't you jump over to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and don't forget to share with your friends. With all that done, keep shooting.